Literally, the only thing Power did the entire season was smash the one devil with the hammer during her introduction and kill a bunch of zombies. Literally did nothing else. Yeah, they're
It's
like
just one page.
it's a full spread, like a chapter opening page, and like she's scissoring one of them, and they're like grabbing her breasts and stuff like that, and they're all just banging and like. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the final episode of the Chainsaw Man bonus episodes with Life is Daijoubu, by Life is Daijoubu, by us, with
For
us,
Life is Daijoubu.
For Life is Daijoubu. I don't freaking know. I'm 12 episodes
With-
in, I still don't know how to
with
freaking intro
Life
this
is
stupid
Daijoubu.
bonus thing. But we're done. This is the last episode of season 1 anyway of Chainsaw Man. So this will be the last bonus episode for now of the Chainsaw Man stuff. And you'll see what essentially quote-unquote replaces this in the next following episode, which is our 2022 year-end recap. Now that's out of the way. Huh?
Inside Life is Daijoubu.
Within
Within Life is...
Now that it's all wrapped up, I guess we can actually introduce ourselves. My name is Cole, and I am joined by I need to do a better we need to just workshop
I'm
all
Sky.
of this. Like, over to my right, we have the one, the only,
I'm Sky.
I'm Sky, and then to my left, we have the fabulous
Thane.
Thane.
That was like a thing.
I
Like
could have
it,
said Tinky Winky, and that's La La Po, and whatever the last one was.
Tweedledee and Tweedledum and Tweedledummer.
We don't have our fourth Teletubby.
The Three Stooges. That's two.
Mo,
I'll be Curly. 'cause I'm the
Bulbasaur,
bald-
Charmander,
Curly's the bald
and
one, right?
Curly.
Squirtle.
Curly, I'm the biggest one. Curly.
Oh, but isn't Curly the bald one?
Larry's the bald one.
Oh, I'll be Larry.
You're Mo.
Yay.
You're like the straight man of the group.
Oh, good. That's okay, I guess. Anyway, we're going to talk about Chainsaw Man episode 12 today. We are a week late. We apologize for that. But now that we're back from the holidays, we can finish the episode and get on with their normally scheduled Life is Daijoubu, including the new bonus that you'll see later on. But before we really get into it, let's just discuss which chapters of the manga this takes place in. We have roughly halfway through 35 to right at the end of 38. It doesn't go all the way through 38. It like basically leaves out at a couple pages. And I imagine those couple pages is probably what's going to start the next season if I had to guess. It's not like minor spoilers. It's not a huge thing that just happens. It's just
A thing.
it's just something. It's just like the next thing. It's really not a great introduction. Or it's not a great ending. I don't know. It makes sense why they left it out. If you want to read it and you're going to become a manga reader just like the rest of us, then I guess you'll know in just a second, won't you? Or whenever you do it. But not just a second. You still listen to this. But before we really get into the manga, we are going to talk about it with anime spoilers, no manga spoilers, and then about halfway through the show. At this point, another 5-10 minutes into the show, we're going to be doing the manga spoilers of the episode. So this episode, it was really built up all the way throughout the entire, like the last 3 or 4 episodes, because this is like essentially the culmination of the Katana Man arc. Or rather, not the culmination, the climax of the Katana Man arc. And I was both very impressed and both kind of just like, oh, okay. But I feel like that's kind of what they were going for. The thing that really got me to like the okay was just like after the fight happened, it just kind of just like slowed down really heavily and nothing really happened. It was very, very chill. Everybody kind of just did their own thing in their own life, and it makes sense in the idea of that just being like a manga, like you read that chapter, because that would have like the ending of that would have been like within like one chapter, and I just feel like in manga, in anime, it feels just like the pacing just really slows down. That said, they did a couple things that I really liked that wasn't in the manga, and we'll get to that in a second. But the episode opens up with the Special Division Unit 4, Division 4, Unit 4, Division 4. I think it's Division 4, Special Unit, whatever. They're infiltrating the hotel, and they go fight some things. You see them fight some zombies, and they find the bad guys and stuff. I guess it doesn't really open up with that. It opens up with Aki in his confrontation with the ghost devil,
Yeah.
which is cool.
That was very interesting, and I guess I want to bring something up about that specifically, but it'll be for the spoiler section because I don't know if it's
Gotcha.
spoilery or not. But, man, what the heck? They used that creepy-looking demon and just made me feel something, man. I was like,
I know,
yikes.
I don't remember like how it all worked out or something, but I feel like Himeno had some kind of deal with the ghost devil to like be chill to Aki because that one chick had control, but the ghost devil basically said no.
No, it can't sense fear, so he just stopped being scared.
How do you just stop being scared?
I don't
though?
know. He kind of like, oh, I know this. I guess he's like, I know this devil. So
maybe he accepted he was gonna die or something.
I guess.
But
That's
maybe-
what it says. It's like the ghost devil that can't see
Yeah.
normally, can only see fear. So I guess he stilled his fear.
But maybe it was also like that was his connection to Himeno,
Yeah.
or rather, that is a connection.
A part of him.
Yeah.
A part of her, I guess, rather.
Yeah.
I could see that. And like he's never been afraid of that devil in the past because Himeno's always been in control of it. I don't know.
Maybe at that moment he was scared to die, but then he's like, why should I be scared?
Yeah.
I need to get revenge.
Yeah, it could be. I imagine there's like a lot that goes to it. Like you could probably interpret that in many different ways. Like you could interpret it just him like being accepting of death, wanting to just take revenge, and that kind of takes over his personality, or not personality, but like emotion. Yeah, that's very interesting. But anyway, he's able to conquer that thing. I feel bad saying conquer because he killed it, but
It
like,
kind of just gave up.
it
Though.
kind of just let him.
Yeah, it didn't really fight
Being
back.
accepting Himeno's death by killing the ghost devil.
And let's also talk a little bit about the cigarette that the ghost devil gave him, essentially, that says easy revenge on it. Now, obviously, that's a big reference to Fooly Cooly with the cigarette in like episode 1 or 2, which says, do you know what it says, Thane?
I don't remember.
I don't remember what it says either. I'll look it up while we're talking. But it's a reference to that, and it's just another thing about how Tatsuki Fujimoto loves different cinemas and stuff and likes to reference things. So that was...
I'm sure Fooly Cooly didn't do it first.
I don't think they did either, but I feel like that's got to be... Well, maybe not the reference, but it's like... It's called... the cigarette says never knows best. That's what it says. I wonder... you're going to Google that? Okay, yeah. Google that. Find out if that really was the first appearance of something like that, but... Regardless, that was some kind of reference to something like that. But that said, it says easy revenge. And Himeno's the one that wrote that, clearly. At some point, she had written that on a cigarette. And I don't remember what the context of that was. And I feel like we saw that. Maybe it's just something you'd have to go back and figure it out. But in the context of, like, them fighting, I wonder if it's also in a reference to, like, get revenge for me. Because these guys are the people that killed me, essentially. Or maybe if you could think about it like this, the ghost devil is what killed Himeno in a sense, and so maybe Aki's getting revenge like that by
killing
yeah.
it.
See, there's just a lot of ways to interpret this all, and it's super interesting and very deep, and we're probably looking way too into it than we really even need to be honest.
It's just interesting that, I mean, a lot of shows do similar things, but this one specifically, we already gave just 2 examples in the first 10 minutes of this episode of how you can see something and interpret it differently. I mean, all 3 of us watched the same show and interpreted it just a little bit differently, or rather threw out some interpretations that you could have of the same scenario or situation that has come about.
I don't know what to Google.
Cigarette in grass.
Yeah.
Cigarette in ground words.
In ground?
Isn't it in the ground?
Oh no, it's just words on the cigarette.
Oh, that's right. It wasn't in the ground in Fooly Cooly.
Yeah, it's just the what's her face, the one that always goes taco.
Yeah, Taco. The one girl that
What's
sucks.
her name? Oh, that's gonna drive me crazy. But yeah, she's the one that had the cigarette, said never knows best. But anyway, moving on in the episode, we see Denji and Power in the elevator, and they split up in a sense, even though Denji's basically told her not to, and Power just goes, whatever, I'm gonna go kill these things. I wonder if part of that was just because she was she's always afraid and nervous and selfish, and so she's like, why would I go to the big boss if I could just fight these little things that are weak? But she covers it up by
it could
being
have
loud.
Yeah, it could have been her too, like trying to be a little bit prideful of like, because Denji's like, you're pansy, you ran away last time, and she's like, nuh-uh. So she immediately rushed in and started killing.
Could have been that, yeah. Could have been part of that. I don't think there's really anything to really look deep into Power's motivations for most things, to be honest.
Nope.
And I found one thing interesting that somebody brought up on one comment section I was reading. They mentioned that literally the only thing Power did the entire season was smash the one devil with the hammer during her introduction and kill a bunch of zombies. Literally did nothing else.
Yeah.
Other than that, she almost got Denji killed a couple of times with the bat and all that. And
then ate all the food in the hotel.
And then ate all the food. Almost got a bunch of other people killed. Like she really didn't do anything.
I think it is just Fooly Cooly.
It could just
you
be
probably
Fooly.
have to ask someone else, though. I can't find it with just a Google search.
Gotcha.
You know what's interesting too about
Feels like
Power?
a
real quick?
90s Japanese thing, though.
Yeah.
So I remember when we first started this show, the Chainsaw Man one specifically, we were talking about like there's power stands and then Makima stands. I don't remember why, after watching this and seeing Power come to life, why I liked her so much, other than she's just kind of like she's just a sister for Denji, where it's almost like she's a teaching point for Denji at times, where Denji's like, she acts like a little brat. I don't want to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it could just be that, yeah.
Because like that one episode with Denji and Aki where Power moves in, it just starts tearing up the place and freaking taking dumps in the toilet, not flushing. So it's like, if anything, she was a big teacher for Denji on what not to do. Or I guess just helping Denji realize, because he grew up by himself. You know what I mean?
The episode prior, when Denji had moved in, he was doing very similar stuff to what Power was doing. Yeah,
and sometimes I guess in life is you don't realize things that you are doing or that you don't like until you see somebody else doing exactly the same thing as what you don't like, and you're like, oh, maybe I should change too. You know?
Yeah, exactly. I like that interpretation. But other than that, she's kind of a. I don't like her. I've never been a big fan of Power, and so now that more people might be coming to that realization, I'm all for it. Power's not bad. Don't get me wrong. I don't think she's a bad character, but I just never really cared that much for Power like everybody else does. I liked Kobeni more than Power all the time, and Kobeni's even kind of just like a why.
Yeah.
Speaking of Kobeni, she's the one that essentially got Aki out of the jam, which was interesting. What's her face pulled out a gun, and Kobeni just freaking ninjas and just with a knife right on her neck. He's like, we won, dude.
Kobeni reminds me of the blonde-haired dude, Zetsu in Demon Slayer.
Oh,
is it? I think it's Zetsu.
It's not Zetsu.
No, it starts with
Zetsu's like Naruto,
yeah,
the white
Naruto.
guy, the white.
Why don't I freaking remember his name? It's Inosuke, Tanjiro, and.
Oh shoot! I just had it too.
I'm pretty sure it's a Z.
It starts with look it up.
He's the kid that's asleep, and he fights better when he's asleep.
Yeah, very very similar. I mean, they're both very afraid all the time too. So
talk about lucid dreaming.
Zenitsu.
Zenitsu.
That's what it is.
Most popular character according to popularity.
I liked Zenitsu a lot actually when I read through the manga. He was probably one of my favorites. Interestingly enough.
What was I saying?
Zetsuba or
Zetsu.
Zenitsu.
That's
Zetsuba.
I don't know who.
I don't know who that is either. So many things.
We've seen too many shows.
So moving on, Chainsaw Man, Denji, he encounters Katana Man. They get into a big fight. The fight escalates and goes onto the back of a train, a moving train, which is cool, very reminiscent of Spider-Man 2002. Wink, wink.
or the movie The Wolverine.
Oh yeah. Hugh Jackman.
Yeah.
It's also so weird.
There's also probably other movies, but I can't remember.
I'm sure there's plenty, but
there's plenty of movies where they go on trains and they fight.
I 100% got Spider-Man vibes from that.
I totally thought of Spider-Man too.
And they even go into the train just like Spider-Man did too. So I just wonder, if you could ask the guy, I'd be like, "Hey, was this Spider-Man?"
He supposedly knows this. It's like, oh,
it's like
probably something else.
I think if you see an example, you could just chalk it up to he's a movie buff, it's
He's-
probably that one.
It's literally just like,
Yeah.
here's all the movies with fight scenes on a train. Just throw a dart,
Yeah,
throw a
literally.
dart at them all.
Yeah.
During the fight, though, we see Denji essentially get his anime power up in the form of chainsaws coming out of his legs. And that's how he's able to finally take out Katana Man, because Katana Man was not expecting that. Denji essentially did a red herring by talking about the chainsaw on his forehead and hid the one on his leg. Now, this is really interesting because this power-up was essentially foreshadowed in the training with Kishibe. In one of the shots, you see Power and Denji on the ground, essentially passed out after training with Kishibe. And Denji's pant legs are shredded, completely shredded. And it's like, Power's legs are fine. Like, there's no, her pants aren't ripped at all. It's like, why would Denji's legs be shredded? Well, it's because chainsaws ripped out of him. He's also not wearing shoes. That's another dead giveaway right there, too. But
Dang, I'd never noticed that.
yeah, I happened to see that in comments as well. I didn't really pick up on that either, but the fact they had a training arc before that kind of just alluded to it in general, but even more so that there's details that go with it too. I think that's cool. Good job on that, Fujimoto. I imagine it's in the manga. I don't actually know. I'm assuming at that point, but so, dude, the animation of seeing Katana Man split into two.
Yeah.
I very much was like, I liked that. Like, it was very gory, and I'm not huge on gore, but just like
I liked it.
just how well it was just portrayed, I thought was very, very good. It's the classic trope of the person sliced into and they don't realize until a little bit later, but like, it just looked
Of course,
very
a
visually
a
appealing.
chainsaw wouldn't make that clean of a cut.
Oh no,
but we're
definitely not.
And he wouldn't feel it. Be like, I'm having a very splitting headache.
It'd been funny if he said something stupid like that. Anyway, after the fight, Aki shows up. Denji offers him a duel. They duel it out by kicking Katana Man in the nuts until he literally doesn't have them anymore. They're gone, like gone, decimated, disintegrated, and that's essentially the end of the episode. We see Makima go before some of the special division, not special division, just the Devil Hunter division people, talk about what was happening and like what to do going forward with the Gun Devil, and it's essentially the end of the show. We get a little tease about what's to come, but other than that, that's essentially the end of the show.
The
They also-
door, Denji.
They also identified Rize's voice actress.
I think it was announced, but I don't actually know that.
Announced.
Yeah. Yeah, so the girl at the end, her name is Rize. I don't know if we actually see her, but you definitely hear her voice. One other thing, at the end when it shows Power, Denji, and Aki just chilling in Aki's apartment building, there's like a couple shots of that is in the manga, and that's essentially where the manga ended, where where I was saying earlier about how there's like 2 pages left of that chapter. Right there is where it ends in the manga, and it just goes on a little bit more after that in the manga. But in the anime, we get to see Aki stand up and go have a smoke outside in the balcony, and like this is just a nice, like, very chill, like, way to wrap it all up. Very opposed to other anime with just very hype hitting hard stuff right at the very end, right up to the very end. But this one was very much more subdued, and that little extra anime only content of seeing Aki just chill. It's very reminiscent of the other anime only content of Aki just going to his morning routine. So very cool. I like that. It really adds depth to the characters. You kind of see them mull everything over and all that. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was fun. It's fun watching, like, after you see the show all the way through, seeing Denji go from this kind of, I don't want to say timid, but like very oblivious to things. He's motivated by the simplest of things, to watching him fight with Aki and seeing the confidence he has as opposed to when he first started. And also I thought it was very fitting that both of them are just kicking the nuts off of this dude, because Denji kicked Aki's nuts when they first met, and it was kind of fun.
It's a really nice loop back to their initial relationship to how they've progressed to become friends.
Yeah.
It's just it's a perfect loop on that. I like that a lot as well.
And it's just fun seeing Denji's character progression, I guess, because it feels slow at times, especially on the surface, but I think when you dig a little bit deeper with Denji, you're like, whoa, like, there's actually a person in there
There is
doing
something
things.
there, yeah.
Yeah.
I also like the snake girl's death.
Oh, yeah,
She
it's
gets
like
frickin' decapitated by the snake and just blood
it's just
pools
it's like
out.
what 3 seconds and
Yeah.
then she's gone.
Yeah. I was trying to remember, was that in the manga? And I
Yeah,
looked like, yeah, that
it
was in the
was.
manga.
So the scene right then, so you see the snake grab her head and rip it off, and then it cuts during the beginning of Kobeni's scream. She starts screaming, ah! And it just cuts. It's like a perfectly cut
Yeah.
scream. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's an interesting way to do comedy, but it made me laugh anyway.
What'd you guys think of the slice of life outro?
Well, it's interesting because it was also like essentially more anime only content because it just flowed into the next scene. It wasn't necessarily its own outro, but it was at the same time. It was you know how sometimes anime like they'll just have like a song going over the background and you see the credits off to the side.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
basically what this was. You see the story still unfold.
Mhm.
That's kind of what this was, and I really liked that about it. But it still fit the role of an ending, you know,
Yeah.
because it wasn't necessarily quote unquote canon to the manga stuff. It was just it was good. I liked it for that aspect alone.
I liked it too. I thought the song was fun too.
I think let me just double check my notes. I might have had one more thing to say. I talked about how like the ending is slow. It's super interesting because it's essentially the calm before the storm. Like you see a lot of this kind of like
Yeah.
slow down, and it's just like, yeah, crap's about to hit the fan. Like we know what's coming next. Manga readers definitely know what's coming next, but you know, even if you're an anime watcher, you're like, yeah, this is definitely not the end. You know, something's gonna just start ramping up like crazy after this.
So we're at the end of volume 5?
no, only a couple pages into, or
Oh.
only couple chapters in.
Oh, okay. So we're almost halfway through the manga then, because there's 12 chapters.
11 volumes.
11, excuse me, volumes. There's 11 volumes.
Yeah, the first public safety arc.
Yeah.
thing.
So then we're about this is probably close to halfway.
Yeah, I imagine they could get the whole thing done in another season and a movie if I had to guess. That's what they're gonna do. I could totally see no manga spoilers, but I could see the final arc be done in a movie. I think it would work really, really well in a movie.
Man, that would be banging. Actually thinking about it.
Yeah. And so they could do another 12 episodes and then just go right up to the final arc, or maybe a couple episodes into the final arc and then the last a little bit just a movie. I think that would work really, really well.
You think if it gets big enough, they'll make a simul release for America and Japan?
One can dream. Honestly, though, I feel like they could with this one. It might not
Yeah.
be simul released in like theaters if they did, but they would want to do that. That's the thing.
Yeah.
They'd want to have it potentially. I'll chalk that up to a big potentially.
It would be the biggest anime movie.
You think it'd be bigger than Demon Slayer?
Probably.
Would it be bigger than the One Piece one that just came out?
That wasn't that big.
I thought that was bigger than the Demon Slayer one.
No.
It wasn't?
No.
Okay.
It's pretty big, but it wasn't that big.
Okay.
Demon Slayer is still the highest grossing R-rated animated film. It's
Well, that was R-rated?
Yeah, it
know
surpassed
that.
Sausage Party, which originally was the highest grossing R-rated animated film.
What about like the Makoto Shinkai movies in Japan? Did they do better than
Yeah, Demon did better than Demon Slayer.
those did better than or
Yeah.
Demon Slayer did better?
Demon Slayer did better.
Demon Slayer did better. Okay, cool. He's looking up something, and after that, we're gonna switch over to our manga spoiler section. But wrapping up the season, like, pretty dang happy with it. I really like the color choice, the color palette they chose for the entire anime as a whole. It fits the tone of the time setting of the series, set in the 90s, like late 90s. I thought that was really, really good, just in general, and just obviously Mappa killed it with pretty much everything.
Yeah, this final CG fight, it was full CG, by the way. Both those guys were CG.
One thing to mention is that this is also the TV version that we got out. Whenever they package it all up and put it on Blu-ray, that stuff is touched up. So they fix errors, they add things here and there, and they try to make it a little bit better, just the perfected quality. So as good as it looks right now, it's only going to be better in the Blu-ray
That's
version that
awesome.
comes out later.
All of the highest grossing films in Japan are all anime films.
Oh, really?
There's no live actions.
What are the top ones?
It's Demon Slayer, Spirit Away, Your Name, Princess Mononoke, and Howl's Moving Castle. With
Wow.
One Piece Film Reddit number 6.
Miyazaki's
Number
on there.
6.
Was that 3 Miyazaki
Yeah.
films?
I think they're all written by him too. Yeah, they're at least Ghibli for sure. I know Spirited Away and
Worldwide.
I think they all are. Yeah.
A worldwide One Piece film Red jumped to number 5.
Gotcha. Yeah, so I think that pretty much wraps up our anime spoilers. We're going to go ahead and move into our manga spoilers, and at the end of that, I guess we'll talk about the chapter that came out last week. We're recording this on a Monday now instead of a Tuesday, so we won't know the chapter tomorrow that comes out. But
Yeah.
yeah, we're going to go into manga spoilers. I don't know if we've got a lot to say. We've got a little bit to say, I'm sure, but spoilers start now, so if you're an anime only, then don't proceed. Okay, so the first thing, I think it's like the elephant in the room for manga spoilers, is the ending with Reze talking.
Yeah.
Because that speech that she's saying essentially is the end of the bomb arc. That's not before. That she says that literally moments before Makima shows up and kills her.
Wow.
Like, you see, I think at the very end, you see that shot of Denji in the cafe or something. That's literally the end of the bomb arc. Was you see Denji in the cafe and is all sad because Reze never showed up and Makima had taken her out or whatever. So I found that very interesting.
Wait, did he never know she was the bomb? Oh, wait, no.
Oh, yeah, he knew. He fought her and stuff.
I remember she fucking bit her tongue off. Sorry.
Yeah. She bit his tongue off.
Yeah, bit his tongue off. Which reminds me of another show I watched as a kid. I think it was an X-Files episode where this guy was making out with a girl and he's like some kind of insect monster and he bites her tongue off.
But yeah, so at the end of the bomb arc, you have Denji and Reze on the beach after they fought, and then they go their separate ways and and I don't remember who initiates the meet at the restaurant thingy. It might be Reze, it might be Denji, I don't remember. But regardless, Denji goes to meet her, and she doesn't show up, and that's her monologue essentially before she gets there, was the country mouse or the city mouse thing, and then Makima gets her because Makima responds to her and says, I always chose the country mouse or something. Like, I don't remember what her response was. It's fitting for her character, but I don't remember what it was, but very interesting. And then the other thing I thought was interesting, so I kept bringing up the final 2 pages of that chapter. So the thing that it brings up is Power's horns are bigger. It's because she's acquired a lot of bloodage or something like that, and she needs to like have a chill time to like lower her blood pressure, for lack of a better idea, because I don't remember what actually it's called. But they do that, and that's why she's gone from the bomb arc. She's not even in the bomb arc like at all. She gets replaced by Beam, the shark guy, and it's because of her horns. And if you look throughout the episodes, specifically this episode and the last, you see her horns are bigger than they usually are, especially from when they first introduced her. They're much larger, but at the end of the beginning of the next season, they're going to be like large, and there's more sticking out as well out of the side of her head. So
she's got 4 of them, doesn't she?
Yeah, 4 of them. So that's a funny little detail I noticed just from watching the anime. I liked that, but very, very interesting. So overall, though, like, the only thing else we have is just Makima doing some more control stuff, setting up things for how she wants them to go. And that's pretty much my take on the manga spoilers. What was your question you had earlier?
So it was just along the lines of the Himeno's, the demon, the ghost demon.
Yeah.
Do demons get attached to their users?
I think some can. I mean, Puchita, for example.
True. And that's very true, actually. Do we see other examples of that?
I don't know. Oh, yes, of course we do. That Chinese lady, Quinoxi, or however you say her name, she's got a freaking harem she just hangs out with.
Of demons?
Yeah. You got a bunch of, like, devil fiends girls that she just bangs all the time.
I can't even remember.
Yeah.
You might have missed that chapter because it wasn't on the Shonen Jump app because they had to censor it by not having that app or that chapter in the app.
Well, there to be then.
Yeah, they're
it's
like
just one page.
It's a full spread, like a chapter opening page, and like she's scissoring one of them, and they're like grabbing her breasts and stuff like that, and they're all just banging and like, yeah. So definitely some of them are more attached to others. And I mean, even Power is an example as well. Eventually, I would say fiends probably are a little bit more likely than their actual devils, and like, I don't think any of them have been made contracts with. I don't think fiends even can make contracts with humans. I don't know though. It's a good question. But the ghost, sure. I bet the ghost could have been attached to Himeno at some point or somehow.
Yeah, that was pretty much.
It's funny how you guys missed a chapter, because when I see that and I see like a chapter's gone, it's like, where is that chapter?
Oh, dude, I just binged things so fast. I didn't read the numbers.
I get OCD. Sometimes I'll also notice, like, did I miss something? And then I'll look it up. It's like, yes, the chapter's gone.
Yeah, dude. When you're just were reading it week by week at that point that you missed the chapter, so you would have noticed really right away.
Yeah.
When you're just binging that thing, you don't read the numbers. You just click, 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 click.
Yeah, I was reading it weekly and said this week is online because lesbians.
Boobies.
And I was like, what? And I was like,
woo! You don't even see anything. They cover up everything very tastefully. But
sorry, that was loud.
They're really, they're going at it.
They're office supplies.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. There's also a comedy manga, where they I think it was chapter 8. They censored and said age gated, and literally was just a guy whose head looked like a penis.
Oh,
like, what the hell?
It was just shaped, mushroom shaped.
Yeah, it's funny because in later chapters, which is on the Shonen Jump app, they just show the guy without. But I guess because he was so egregiously in that chapter, and one time they were in a fight and he busts through a wall, and his head just droops down and hanging. It just looks like a perfect cock and balls right there. It's like, oh.
Well, I think that might wrap it up for us. Did you guys have any last thoughts on the manga spoiler side?
No.
I guess the final thing we'd say is Skylar finally got his ship. His ship has started to sail. Denji got into the bathtub with Asa. Not bathtub, excuse me. Fish tank. Did you not read the chapter?
Yeah, I read it.
Oh, yeah. So your ship's
comes
sailing.
crashing down.
This guy's over here just going, yes, this is what I want.
And then he offers her a starfish.
No, actually, I saw why that's relevant. Remember when Asa was just spamming a bunch of words that nobody actually read? She mentions that there's a tribe or something that started living off of starfish because that's all they had or something like that.
So he was paying attention.
He was actually paying attention. No one else in the world was except for Denji, surprisingly. And so it's very funny. So Skylar, you might have won. You might have got your ship, but who knows if it's going to be happy in the end.
Oh, it won't.
Oh yeah, in a correction, I think I said that the nervous kid. I think I said his or her name wrong. It was the other guy who has it's the leader who only has a name. The other schmucks don't have names.
Yeah, the guy that we thought looked like a Kobeni person.
Yeah.
Kobeni family member or something. But anyway,
probably is, since she has a ton of siblings.
Probably is, yeah. That pretty much wraps it up, guys. Thank you for enjoying this journey along with us. We hope you guys have enjoyed. We probably will pick this back up when season 2 of Chainsaw Man inevitably comes out, so look forward to that, as well as the new bonuses that's going to be essentially replacing this episode. From here on out, well, not necessarily from here on out, but later into the month when it's all established, you'll get an episode of Life is Daijoubu every single week. You'll have our main episodes as well as the new bonus that we discuss in the 2022 episode, which comes out this Friday. So that'll be, 2 days from when this episode airs? Yeah, so that'll be great. Have fun with that one. It was a fun episode to record. It was a longer episode. We got to talk about the whole year. I liked it. I'm starting to regret some of my choices when I was thinking about them. I was like, oh man, I really did like this one. Maybe I should have put this one there, but it's already done. What's done is done, so it is what it is. But thank you guys again for listening. Thank you all for watching. We hope you guys have enjoyed, and we'll see you in the next one. And freak, I screwed it up, dude. I'll get it all one of these days. I'll figure it all out.
Maybe that'll just be the running meme. It's called Never Knows How to Start or End the Show.
I just can't, dude. Anyway, have a great life. We'll see y'all later. Bye-bye.
Bye.